What up? Welcome back to the channel. I'm Modat J and we are locked in. This is Power Book 2 Ghost Season 2 premiere. Now we had BMF drop. We got the premiere of Book 2. Man, it's a good weekend for us. And now our boy Tariq is back and we know that he's about to run around the city and make some horrible decisions. But before we get started, shout out to the notification gang. If you're new to the channel, you can be a part of it. Hit the subscribe button, turn on your notification bell so you get something every time I upload. Hit that like button. It's the easiest thing you can do. Now, we pick up where we left off. We know Tariq is out here. He's trying to move them things through the school. He also has a long list of girls on his, on his roster. His mom got off on that case. She went into protective custody. But now we got to see what Monet is going to do to our young boy Tariq and how is he going to fit in with the family. So let's jump into it. This is Power Book 2, the season premiere. It was a long night. At the end of season 1 for Tariq. He was out in these streets. Now, I'm not saying what he did was all right, but trying to stay alive was a day-to-day fight. Tariq was in these streets. Jabari, Kane. We know Jabari wanted him to, hey, tell me your life so I can write this book. But that's not nothing we wanted to go along with. Plus, Jabari knew too much information. So Tariq wakes up, and it looks like he's at grandma's house. Now he's checking his phone because he needs to get rid of any evidence that he might have on him. And we see a text message from Jabari. He deletes that. Then he also looks at the message from his mom, Tasha. Be safe, baby. Love you. Well, we know that she actually got out. She's not charged of anything, but she's in protective custody, so she's not around. Now we finally get to hear some acting from Yaz. Now they got Yaz talking like she's 3 or 4 years old, where she's about 8 or 9. I didn't know. But she was in the kitchen cooking and there's a whole fire. Tariq puts it out and she's like, how did you learn how to do that? And he says, Mom taught me this when I was younger. Now grandma gets up, she turns off the smoke detector and she's looking. Tariq, what are you doing here? Now Tariq's trying to convince his grandma that he stayed the night because he's building an alibi. I told you it was a long night out there with Kane and Jabari, you know what I'm saying? So now he has to say, Grandma, I was here. I spent the night. You remember? Came here, went to sleep, and stayed here. So if anybody ever asks, Grandma's going to say, no, Tariq was here. But now he has to take Yaz to school because Grandma said, I'm going back to sleep. And Yaz tells us that she's been hitting the bottle a little bit. Back at the Tejadas family, we see Monet, Diana, and of course Drew. Now, when she's upstairs, she hears a noise downstairs. She goes and she gets the gun out the safe, tells Diana to get back in the room. When she gets downstairs, turns out it's just Drew. Now, he was trying to get something to drink, and we know he got shot last season because, hey, man, when you out in these streets, that's just how it happens. But he was also sticking up for the family. Let's not get that mistaken. And he's just telling his mom, hey, Monet, put that gun up. I don't want to get shot again. Because, he really doesn't want to be in this life. But she's saying he's probably going to be more than likely the one that's going to run the family. Because can we really trust Kane? Kane is a loose cannon. Speaking of the loose cannon, Kane, he's with Little Guap. You remember he came over there and punked him, said, I want 50% of everything y'all make. Now they're in here and they're talking to Mecca. Mecca actually knew Little Guap's dad, Big Guap. So Kane is asking, did you know my dad, Lorenzo? And he was kind of explaining to him. Mecca was like, I heard of him. I just never met him. And it feels like Kane is questioning him just to test to see where his loyalty is. Because Kane's like, oh, my dad's in jail. You ain't know that? And you would think someone on Mecca's level, along with Lorenzo, they would all know each other. Now, some guys from the DTG, you remember this is the old crew that Kane got into it with and, canceled everything. They come and they pull their guns on them. Mind you, everybody's in designer out here. I'm talking about Gucci down, you know what I'm saying? Prada. We got the finest designer on. And they get stood up. These dudes got shotguns. Well, Mecca, Kane already was iffy on him. But after he sees him take the shotgun and kill 2 of them, he's like, okay, yeah, he's legit. We can kind of trust him. So Little Guap is like, whew, thank you, because I know Kane be tripping. Davis McLean and Cooper Sachs, the duo we didn't know we needed. Now, Sachs comes in and the lady is talking to Darius and she's saying, you know what? You're doing a hell of a job out here. I didn't know you and Sachs would work together because you guys were also against each other prior to this, but business is business. And McLean is saying, look, is McLean an associate? Sachs, you're an associate. And Tariq's trying to get in contact with his mom. Now, Sachs doesn't want to do this he already has a gripe with Tariq. This goes back to season 1 where he's been beefing with Tariq's dad, Ghost. So he's been trying to get Ghost, and what they were trying to do was tie the murder of Ghost to Tasha. So these two work together, and that's why he started charging Tariq a little bit more money. The reason Saxe isn't going to let McLean get any of the information on where Tasha is, one is because she's in witness protection, and two, I don't know if I can really trust Tariq. That's his excuse, because he killed his father. I don't know if he's going to kill his mother also. Now, we can know Zeke got shot in the leg. He's not supposed to be in any of the family business. We know he's soft. I won't say he's soft, but he's not supposed to be doing any of this. He gets shot in the knee, which tears up his whole career playing basketball. We see him in here rehabbing, trying to get right. Now, he's talking to his trainer like, you think I'm ready? Well, not only was he out because of injury, he had academic probation. We knew that because he wasn't doing any of his work. He thought everything was going to be given to him. Plus, Tariq was doing his homework. So now he's thinking, I could probably do another year of college, but I just don't want to waste my prime, whereas my opportunity to try to go to the next level and get paid. Ultimately, the trainer says, it's your decision, but you don't want to rush coming back from an injury. Tariq and Braden, best friends, they out here making it happen on the campus. Now, we had to, see where Braden's loyalty was. His brother did also steal that pack from us. We ended up getting it back, so everything is straight. And Braden and Tariq, whatever little differences they had, we squashed that last season. Now, Braden is talking to Tariq like, where were you last night? And Tariq's trying to keep up this alibi. I stayed at my grandma's house with my sister. Braden starts talking about Tasha. How's it to have your mom back? Well, Tariq doesn't know because she's in witness protection, so he hasn't got a chance to actually see her. And Braden is trying to get Tariq's mind off all this and saying, hey, come on our camping trip. It may be a little weird for you to be with some white people killing some deer, but it'll get them, get it off your mind. But Tariq sees straight through it, and he says, this is just to deflect from you and your family talking about your future. Tariq is talking to Lauren, and I told y'all in the intro he has a nice lineup of women, but he's talking to her and she's asking, where have you been? Again, keeping up his alibi. Oh, I just been with the family ever since my mom got released. Even though she's under protective custody, I'm still wanting to be with my grandma and my little sister. She's saying, why didn't you tell me? But that's something personal. You're not just gonna get on the phone. Hey, what's up, girl? Yeah, I'm chilling at the house with the people. Nah, you just go back and chill. But out comes Professor, and who is she looking for? Hey, where's Jabari at? Thinking back on season 1, every book, every assignment that they had in these classes, these advanced classes, had to do with something in the episode. In this episode, she's teaching ethics. Now, Jabari is supposed to be doing it, but since he isn't here, Carrie's going to go ahead and lead. Now, she's asking the class about it. And, they're having their back and forth, but you hear them talking, we got the little black thing going on. Hey, I'm not your sister. Don't call me that no more. But Carrie wants them to get focused and actually think about what ethics means. Now, the question that Professor Reynolds had for the class, even though he's not here on the first day of class, we're going to have to dock some pay or something. But the question is free will just an illusion? I told you, everything has to do with the episodes. We're talking about free will. Now, they show Diana. They're in the Fendi store, and Monet looks over at what she's wearing. She said, take that off. But she's like, but I like it. And Monet ain't trying to hear none of that. So we know Diana and Drew, they don't have free will in their house. They have Monet will. Next thing we see is Saxe. Now we know it's McLean and Associates. Saxe is an associate. So Saxe is getting an upgrade in his wardrobe. McLean wants him to be clean. We gonna be fresh wherever we go, especially if you working with me. You're not about to be wearing that government issue stuff. Tailored. We see Monet in them, and I told y'all, everybody is designer head to toe. I'm talking about the only designer I'm getting is from them kids that did that kick dough in the Louis V store in San Francisco this weekend, and they took all that stuff. Yeah, I'm buying something off them for like $5,200. I ain't spending my hard-earned money in these stores where they overprice things. No, sir. FYI, I'm joking. I repeat, I do not buy stolen goods. I don't. So don't use this against me. Everyone gives their opinion on what free will is. Now, Lauren says we're all given our cards and it just depends on how you play your deck. Now, Tariq, he says that's really what free will is because it doesn't seem like you have free will. Now, someone else in the class, they argue that motion and they say, well, everything's already determined. But Tariq gets them with, if everything's already determined, then why do you look left and right before you cross the street? Because nothing is determined. You just have to deal with whatever comes to you. So Tariq actually had a response that was good. And I said, okay, this kid's paying attention. Even though he's on his phone, we got to figure out who he's texting. Probably Kane. Rule number 1, you do a crime with someone, stay off the phones. Now, we know Carrie's up there listening. She's like, oof, another student I could give it to, because you know she's out here wilding out. Her and Professor Reynolds, they do anything. Councilman Tate, Rashad Tate, and his brother Kamal Tate. Now, we know Tate lost the governor to Ghost, RIP to Ghost, and he's staying at his brother's house. And his brother's like, boy, if you don't get up and get up out of here is what I got to say. Now, we know that Tate likes the power, and he's telling them, hey, listen to what Dad used to tell us. We got to get up and make something happen. So you're still a councilman. You can still go around and make some stuff shake in order for you to get to the position you want. And also clean up my place. So Governor Tate, Councilman Tate, because my boy didn't win, he's about to get up off his tail and get back to work because his brother Kamal doesn't want him laying around here all day. Diana, she's in the car, and it looks like a couple of police officers are behind her. Maybe she's illegally parked, but Monet's sitting over here. I'm talking about with the big fur on, the big Fendi bag, the red hair, and she over here got the gun in her purse trying to act like the cops don't see her. We see you over there, but we not worried about you. We worried about this generic Porsche that's parked over here. This ain't even the sports package Porsche. This is the regular one. I thought the Tejadas was getting some money. I'm wrong. But she puts her gun back up because she's like, oh, I thought they was about to get my daughter. I was about to have to get us up out of here. I was right. It was nothing more than a little minor, non-moving offense, illegally parked. But Diana says, look, Mom, I was doing what you taught me. Flirt a little bit, smile a lot, and make them think they're going to get it. So she pretty much talked away about that ticket. I don't know how cops fall for this, especially with attractive women. They not about to give you no time of day. Write them their ticket and go on about your business. One thing about Drew, we knew he was in the arts, and he was actually dating one of the guys on the basketball team that played with Zeke. Even though the guy didn't claim him, he was still, into him, and they were together, and Diana was covering for him. Now, before he got shot, we knew he was also in the art, drawing things. Now, someone left some charcoal and some colored pencils on his bed, and he takes his sling off to try to get back into that drawing, try to get some normal things in his life back around, especially the things that make him feel good. But while he's trying to write, his hand is shaking. He just doesn't have the strength, and he throws the notebook across the room because he's upset. He can't do what he enjoys because he got shot in his family business, the business he doesn't want to be in. Tariq decides to show up and help Brayden, give him a little bit of support. And when he gets there, Brayden is getting a new car. And Tariq is saying, man, if this is what showing up to a family meeting gets you a new whip, count me in. Brayden looks at him like, bro, you don't even want to know. Now, when they get upstairs, his father's talking about the Western event that they're going to have on the weekend. And he brings his old roommate, who was his roommate at the same school Tariq and our boy Brayden go to. And guess what? He's a congressman. So that's a little bit of power. This is probably the highest connected person they have outside of, Pops running for governor. And he's sitting there and they're talking about some old skeletons from when they were younger. So this may be a foreshadow to something else that Brayden and, his brother may find, or Brayden and Tariq when they go back. Now, Congressman Rick Sweeney, he's talking to Tariq and saying Brayden is going, he's going to one of the best things ever this summer. And you also hear Brayden's father say, Tariq, we have internships. You can do that. Now they're talking as if Tariq doesn't have any money. So he's telling them, actually, my school is funded by my father's foundation, the James St. Patrick Foundation, ran for lieutenant governor. Now, the whole time Congressman Sweeney is throwing jabs about being black and seeing blacks excel and not having the best of opportunity because of drugs. Now, Tariq flips it and talks about Big Pharma and how much congressmen get paid to change the laws to consider it legal drugs versus illegal drugs. And he gives them all the facts that more people die of opioids, which are legal drugs, most of the time prescribed by a doctor, than the illegal drugs. So now Rick Sweeney, he's kind of choked up like, man, this young Negro is smart. The cops are on the scene and they finally found Jabari Reynolds' body. Now the head detective, he's coming to look at the body and he passes this other officer and he sees that he has a gun in the package. Okay, this is evidence. This looks like it's police issue. Well, they ran the serial numbers and it goes to Officer Ramirez. Now, we know Officer Ramirez was messing with Monet. They were dating. He got into it with Kane. He was trying to help him out a little bit, but they never really seen eye to eye. So now the cops want to know, since Ramirez, when we called up the office, he's been gone for a week. Did he kill this victim and then skip town? Or would he have took his gun? Or maybe someone took the gun. But it isn't adding up. And we got to get to the bottom of this. Tate took his brother's advice. Now he's about to get out here and try to fight for something because, hey, you can't live up in here forever. Now he goes to the head of the DMC and he's asking him, hey, is there any way we can move Congressman Sweeney out of office? Now, Congressman Sweeney is Braden's fake uncle. He went to school with his father at Stansfield. And he's saying, look, let's move him out. I could be that change. And they're saying the only way we can get Sweeney out of office is if you find a lot of dirt on him. Now, you remember what Tariq asked, how much money are you getting from Big Pharma? So that could be a play on Tariq to get back in with Tate. And they try to, finagle their way in there. And Tate promised Tariq something. I don't know. Let's see. Carrie's on the phone talking to her friend Hannah and saying, I'm not going to mess with Jabari anymore. I'm not going to mess with Zeke anymore. I'm moving on, I'm going to get things right. Actually, this old detective that I used to talk to, he asked me out for coffee. Now, this detective is actually Kevin, and he's been coming around because he's trying to figure out why is there a body at the school. So she's been working with him, but she's like, you know what? Let me get rid of Jabari and this teenager and try to get me a grown man. We're going to see how this turns out, Carrie. Or are you going to go back to students? Carrie thought she was about to go on a date, but Kevin had other plans. He took her to the mortuary. And when they're here, she's identifying Jabari's body. In real life, this wouldn't happen. It would have to be a family member. If they can't get anybody close, then they'd start working off. They'd contact the school and do it. It won't just be bringing a random person in and be like, oh, yeah, that's Jabari. Because that's not going to hold up. But she's acting like, dang, you know what I'm saying? I was supposed to be there for him. Now, Kevin is looking at it and asking, is there a relationship? She said there used to be. Now they just work together. So he's about to dig a little bit deeper to see exactly what she knows, especially if she said and admitted that she seen Jabari yesterday. I tell y'all this in every show we watch. Never talk to the police without a lawyer present. She's in here just admitting, oh, I seen him the day before. Now they can bring you in for questioning for that. Of course, you can have your lawyer come and say, oh, we're not going to answer that till later notice. But when you start talking, you running your mouth, that's what gets you in trouble. Now, Detective Kevin tells her, you can either leave or you can help me. And what he means by that is if you leave, we're going to have to open up an investigation on you because you knew him and you admitted to seeing him before he died. Tariq is walking with Braden, and Braden is saying, I don't want to be in any secret society that everybody in my family's in. The reason I like selling drugs with you, Tariq, is not like we're connected to anything. We're out here, we're making money, and we're just living life. And Tariq has thought about getting out the game, but he needed to make enough money to get his mom out. And if he finishes school, he'll get the money from his dad. But he's like, yeah, I hear that. I don't want to be like my dad either. Now we start hearing everybody's cell phone on campus go off. And what do we see? Daily Stallion, beloved Stansfield professor, found murdered off campus. And it's a picture of Jabari. Now, Tariq, he has to act surprised because we were there. Well, I wasn't there. I was in the car. But we were there. And we know we might be guilty of this. And we don't want anything to come back on us. That's why that alibi has to be tight. Where was I at, Grandma? I spent the night there. Braden, where was I at? Oh, he was at his grandma's house. You see, Tariq was working early. Monet's talking to the kids, and it's hot on these streets. You know what I'm saying? We can't really move this product. I mean, we got to depend on Tariq at this point to move it through the school. That's the best way we can get things. Because if you remember, the bar got shot up. So it's a little hot out in these streets. But what Monet is saying is, I'm going to talk to Zeke. We're going to get him recovered, and we're going to have him into the draft. And what we're going to do is we're going to all work with him. I'll be his manager. Drew will travel with him. And Diana, you'll go ahead and get off all the thoughts. And Drew mentions that Zeke will be their new product. They got to keep him right and get him into the NBA. And within 3 years, her plan is they'll be out of the game. Now, Monet also gets a notification that Jabari is dead. And she knows that Jabari works at the school, which means there's going to be a lot of attention on the school. And if we're going to work with Tariq with moving things at the school, it might just be as hot in there as it is on the street. Lauren comes over to Tariq's room. they both have Jabari as a teacher. So for her, this is probably one of the first times she knew somebody that actually passed. And she's kind of upset about it, and she's hurt. And she's looking at Tariq, why aren't you acting like, saying like you care? And he's saying, well, I seen my twin sister die. My father's died. So for him, death it isn't new. So she's down, and she's like, I know you're going through some things, and I want to know how you feel about everything. He's like, nah, I don't really want to talk about it. She grabs his hand. They get to kissing. And right when you think they about to get it in, Kane texts, we need to meet up right now. So Tariq got to make moves, especially with the body on their hands. We got to figure out what we going to do, what we going to say, and how we going to do all of this. Kane pulls up, and it looks like maybe the 2020 Range Rover. But, he pulled up with some heat on the inside. Tariq, he's walking around. We know he always on them 2 feet everywhere. But when they get there, Kane is saying, why is Jabari all over the news? And Kane is like, I thought we were using Ramirez's gun so they would think it was him. And Tariq says, look, he's a professor at a school. He's going to get this kind of publicity. And also, no one's going to think to look at us. That's why we use Ramirez's gun. They're going to have to search into him and find out where he is. He also gets a text from Monet, and she wants to meet him for dinner. And Kane's saying it's probably because Jabari went to your school, he was your professor, but get there and act normal. And Tariq is like, bruh, I got this. Trust me, man. I got this. When they get there, Monet gets straight to business. We're going to have dinner, but we also going to ask you about Jabari. Do you know him? And everything I predicted came true. Exactly what I was saying about how it's going to be hot at the school because of this murder. Monet's asking, okay, Jabari was a teacher. Did you know him? Yeah, I knew him. Did you have anything to do with this? Tariq's lying, talking about, no, I put that on everything. I swear I didn't. And everyone's looking at him. Even Drew's like, you didn't shoot him? You don't know who did it? And he's saying, no, I didn't. Now, Monet says, look, that's good because I don't want my distro, meaning the person that's going to be selling stuff at that school, to be dealing with any kind of nonsense that would draw the attention to the drugs, which will lead back to her. The school is going to be hot now. Tariq and Kane doing this, it could get ugly quick. Diana's in here talking to Tariq, and she's asking about his mom, and Tariq saying, I don't care about the rules. I'm still trying to get in contact with my mom. Now she's getting close. She's holding his hand, talking about, if you need someone to talk to, you can talk to me. But Monet can hear when anybody's getting close. Diana, get these dishes and get away from that boy, because she doesn't want her daughter mixing business with pleasure. We work with Tariq. Well, Tariq works for us. You don't need to be involved with him. So she's trying to keep her daughter at least out of the street life, but in the street life, if that makes any sense. Miss Carrie out here wilding out. She just told her friend Hannah, oh, I'm not going to mess with Zeke anymore. I'm not going to mess with Jabari anymore. First thing she does is open up the door and let another teenager come back in the house. But I told y'all earlier, when we were in the schoolroom, they do whatever they want. Now she's talking to this kid, telling everything. I seen Jabari's body today. Zeke's like, what happened? Who shot him? Then she says, maybe was it your family, the Tejadas? Because Monet threatened me. I'm like, why are you talking to this kid about real life drama and stuff that you're going through? And you already know Zeke about to be in here. I don't know anything. You can't talk to this kid. He's a student athlete with no student, just athlete. Carrie, you're setting yourself up with this one. Brayden comes up to pick up Tariq. Now, when he comes out the house, you remember all those bags they bought at the Fendi store? Well, yeah, that's where they putting the work in. So Monet is smart. She goes and buys all these things. So now you can transport. When you come outside with a Fendi bag, Gucci bag, people are less likely to think, oh man, they got drugs in there. It's just, oh, they got designer. So Brayden picks him up. He sees the work. He say, ooh, what we gonna do is keep this work at the country house that his parents have because he's white. And also, don't speed, Brayden, because if you get pulled over, when they see that you're Western, the white privilege, it'll get you off the hook. So we back in business, people. Now, Mecca, he meets up with Kane. And you remember earlier in the episode, they got jumped by a couple of people, but one of them got away. Well, it turns out Mecca, he has him tied up, and he's telling Kane, you can either kill him, torture him, or we'll just see if you just let him go or not. But right now, here's your opportunity to prove yourself to me, because I already proved myself to you. Kane goes over there and he's talking to Mecca like, yeah, you know what? I appreciate all this, but I don't need no handouts. So he unties him and says, you know what? I'm gonna whoop his ass. I don't need him tied up. I really do this. So they out here. He throws that first punch. Kane dodges it, throw him across the room. Oh, we got us a fight on our hand. And look at Mecca. He just over there chilling, watching like, all right, young blood. All right, young blood. Let's see what you got. Kane gets him in a little 1-2 combo. Pap, pap. Puts him in the headlock and tells Mecca, I ain't got nothing to prove to you. Snaps his neck and says, this is what I am. This is what I do. So Mecca's like, impressive. They both proved themselves. Now we can go further with our little business deal. Now, you remember they were talking about free will. Well, Drew doesn't feel like Monet actually cares about what's going on with him being shot and how he was actually doing this for the family. Now, Diana, she's the closest with Monet. And she's with her all the time. And Monet really doesn't let her do anything. But Drew is saying maybe we should stop waiting on her and start doing our own thing, trying to branch out and make things happen. We know Diana, she hasn't really had any hands-on outside of the supervision for her mom. So she's really kind of hesitant. But Drew, we know he's the brains. And we know it's looked like it's lined up for him to take over the family business. So he's like, look, we need to make something happen for ourselves. Kane is still in the hangar and he's walking around and he sees, oh man, it's a lot of work in here. Now Mecca comes over and is like, what are you doing? Looking at my stash. He's like, oh man, all I'm saying is, look, I proved myself to you and I see all this weight and all this work that needs to be moved, but you don't have any muscle. Now Mecca, we know he got a lot of drugs on him, but he doesn't have no one working for him. Now what Kane is trying to say is, look, let me work with you and help protect all this. And you know, I got a way to help you move it too. Now, Mecca's saying you got to prove more than just killing one little dude for me to really get into business with you. Monet comes to the gym to talk to Zeke because she's been texting him. He hasn't been responding. And this is because he's been sleeping with Carrie and hearing everything. And he's taking her side over the family. Now, he's like, did you threaten her? And Monet is like, yeah, I threatened her, man. She's a reckless teacher sleeping with a student. Now, everything she's doing is wrong. But Monet lays the news down. We need you to join the draft. Well, enter the draft. Because if you go, this will get us out the game. And we need you to do it right now. But we know he's been talking to his trainer and he doesn't think he's physically ready since he hasn't been on the court since the shooting. But Monet, when she makes up a plan, this is what we doing. And that's why you see Drew talking about we need our own free will, because Monet is making the decisions for everybody and we over 18. Kamal comes home and he sees that his brother, Rashad, he cleaned up. Okay, you got a suit on, you getting back to business. But what he wants is a favor from his brother. Log into the police records and give me anything you have on Congressman Sweeney. Because if we can find some dirt on him, we can remove him from office and Tate will go from councilman to congressman. Tate has a plan, and we know one thing about him. He doesn't care who he backdoors or how dirty he plays. If he wants to get somewhere, he's going to get there. Tariq and Braden, they're waiting in their little tent and they see a deer. Boom, someone shoots it. Now Braden's like, we need to go follow it to see where it falls. When Tariq gets out, Congressman Sweeney takes another shot. I'm talking about it doesn't hit anywhere near the deer. It hits the tree that Tariq is by. And of course, you hear that gunshot go off right by your head. You running. And this is why you black people shouldn't be out there in these woods with all these white folks and guns. It don't never end good. Now Tariq, he ends up running to where the deer is. Now when they get there, you hear Braden going in on Congressman Sweeney. What are you doing? He's talking about, I'm a good shot, man. You know, I'm excellent at what I do. Tariq is looking at this. He's looking at the deer dying and bleeding out, just like how Jabari was. Now Pops tells him, hey, look, you know, we'll do you a favor. That was an accident. That shouldn't have happened. You can get the kill shot on the deer. Well, we know he got the kill shot on Jabari. He starts to flash back to when he killed his dad and Tommy's looking at him. So Tariq has a couple of kill shots on his belt. We finally get to see Redman's character, and he's playing a guy named Theo. He's in jail and he's Davis's older brother. Now, when they come in, they do a little, you know, reminiscing. Hey, good to see you, brother. I see you on TV. You clean. Well, guess what? Davis's plan is to get Sax to represent his brother. Now, Sax doesn't know this. He's just an associate. But Davis, he's been putting these chess pieces in order. Now he's telling his brother, I'm going to get you out of here. You're not going to die in here. Because don't get me wrong. Sax, he may be a little crooked, but he's good at his job. He knows how to bend the system to get what he wants. Kane goes back to Ma's house, and you know Monet ain't playing. She came out with that gun. And Kane's like, really, Mom? You gonna bring a gun down here? Now, she didn't change the locks. You already know how she feels about Kane. He messes up. She tries to bring him back in the family, kicks him out. He messes up again, keeps him out. And he's talking about, Mom, I got a new connect. She just walks off. So he's like, man. So as he's walking back to his car, we see Mecca actually followed and he's watching. So now he knows where Kane's mama live. Tariq gets home and he puts the battery in his phone to see if his mom texts. But an unknown number calls and he picks it up, but he doesn't speak. Because if it's his mom, she's going to say, Reek, it's me. But on the other end, guess who it is? It's Detective Kevin, the last person that Jabari texts. The phone pinged at Stansfield School. So now they're on the track. Tariq hurries up and takes the battery out of that because you don't want it to be traced. This phone is done. You got to get rid of it. That means there's not going to be any connection with Tasha unless she comes to the school and talks to him physically. But Detective Kevin is on the case. There you go, Power Book 2, the season premiere. Let me tell you, that was a good starting off episode there. We got a little bit of action in it. We got to meet some new characters, but now the storyline is down. Let me know what you think. Do you think that they're going to start getting onto Tariq's case early in the episodes? Or is it going to be further in the season where they actually start to ping in on Tariq? Also, what do you think about Kane and Mecca? How do you think that relationship is going to work? But I'm Mo.J. If you like the content on the channel, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Thanks for watching. I'm out.
Jimmy on a beat, boy.